Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome to my garage. In Car Mechanic Simulator 2018, since the NASCAR series is done last week at Miami, I figure let's keep the gearhead going, and I've played a bit in this game. I've got like 60 hours into this thing so far, level 52, and I have all of the bonus perks here, and I figure it would be fun if we were to go to some of these barn finds, find us a pretty cool car, and rebuild it from the ground up. So just one moment, I'll hop from barn to barn and see what kind of jewel we can find. Well, my first stop was certainly very productive. We have a Tempest Magnum here, which resembles the old Superbird or Dodge Charger. Looks pretty nice. Let's examine the car here. We can see the condition of some of the parts. We should be able to repair some of these things. Only 5 parts are completely broken that we can see. $30,000. The frame is in pretty good condition. The global body condition's pretty good, but that's a flat fee to repair those. But the interior and parts, we can do that. 269 horsepower as it stands now. With the new tuning DLC, we'll see how many horsepowers we can get out of this thing. So 30 grand, let's go ahead and buy the car. And it will go to my garage, and we should be good to go. So I'll see you back in the garage. Here in my garage, the car is back, and actually, it does not look that bad. I don't see any parts missing blatant. Everything seems to be here. Let's open up the hood. Yeah, I mean, most of everything that's in here should be in here. The moment of truth will be... Oh, well, we don't have a driver's seat, so that's problematic. We can't see if the car starts, but, well, of course it's not. Let's go ahead and move it to our lifter. And the first step will be to strip it down to bare bones, get everything off of this car, and see what we can repair. So without further ado, let's just start with the body, pulling all the body panels off, headlights included, and license plate. Pull off the doors, that's going to get the mirror and the window. Pull the windows off there, rear bumper here, and the tail lights. We should be able to repair most of the body panels, and it shouldn't take much to repair it. Let's go ahead and get into the interior mode here. Take out the bench seat, the steering wheel, and the right seat. And we can get a look here at what awaits us on the inside. A lot of rust, but I don't see anything really missing. It looked like the driver's seat, the radiator fan, and those that belt up front seems to be missing, but those are pretty easy parts to get, especially since we are going to look at this bad boy here. The tuning shop has all of these goodies for us to purchase. Now, we're going to break down and repair everything that we possibly can, and then everything that we can put on this car that's in this power boost section, we are going to do such things as these. So without further ado, let's get at the engine here and start from the top, taking the air filter cover off. Air filter doesn't matter. That's going to be a performance part. We can take off the carburetor here, like so, 25%. I don't know what the absolute floor is for part condition for us to repair some things, but we want to be able to repair as much as we can. So a clip B is missing off of the distributor cap. We'll take out the rotor and the distributor itself. We can take off these engine head covers, and right away I can see the ignition wires are not attached, as our spark plugs are nice and exposed. Also, we have no intake manifolds on this side, but I mean, that's a performance part anyway, so we're better off the engine not having those things that we're going to buy performance versions of anyway. Let's get all of these rocker arms off. There's going to be 16 of them, or at least there should be 2 per cylinder. And as this is a V8, 8 times 2 is 16, if my math doesn't fail me. Now, unfortunately, the rocker arms are not able to be repaired. and neither are the push rods. You can't repair those, so those will be absolutely fresh in every way, shape, and form, so we'll take those off. All the rods are there. Luckily, we can sell the parts that we can't repair for basic, cheap junk scrap money. We're not going to get any decent money out of it, of course, but every little bit helps when we're completely restoring the car from scratch. Take off the pulley and the crankshaft pulley here, working on the water pump. Straight down we go. Then the timing cover will come off. And we can repair most of this stuff. There are certain things like timing chains, timing belts, the tires themselves that we cannot repair. But if things are in a decent enough shape, we will be able to repair it. And with that 95% chance of success, we've got a better chance than not of repairing. We can recharge the battery, 22%, but I still think we can get a full charge out of it. We'll take it over to the battery charger here at the end of the episode. Or maybe once we get the engine out, that's always a thing as well. But basically these cars are split up into 3 parts. You have your engine, and then your front suspension, and then your rear suspension. And they're connected, in this case, with a drive shaft. You also have your exhaust, which we cannot repair any of the exhaust, but that's fine because we have that performance exhaust to buy. Taking off this intake manifold here, and we can work on the valve push rods I forgot to pull out. Those are easy to overlook as you don't really get a good look at them. Just like that. Hopefully some of them are in decent shape. We should be able to get some money back off of those. Head covers will be repairable, and those heads, we have the performance heads that we can put on. So that's everything in the top of the engine. Now we have to get under the car to get the rest of it, so we will lift her on up. And just to be safe, we'll wheel the oil drain over to the lifter. I don't think there'll be any oil in this car. No, indeed. All the oil is gone. It is a barn find, however. We'll take off the oil filter. That should be brand new. This oil pan. And then we will work on the crankshaft bearing caps and the rod caps. Once all the rod caps are off, then we can pull the pistons out of the block. All right, there should be... thought there should be one more. Maybe I lost count. Crankshaft bearing cap. Let's pull all these rod caps out. I believe we can repair, yeah, we can repair those rod caps. So if these are in decent enough shape, we can pull them, and 40% should be close enough to government work with our skill to repair them. 8 rod caps, 1 for each piston. Now the pistons are not repairable, and the piston rings are not repairable. So now that we've got all of that out, we can actually work on the back and get the transmission off, which will show the flywheel and the release bearing and plate. Drive shaft off, gearbox off. Absolutely necessary to get that crankshaft off by removing the flywheel. So pressure plate comes off here. And then the plate, we might be able to repair if it's decent enough. 36% may be pushing it, but there we go. Now the crankshaft can come out whenever the pistons are pulled. So we'll go ahead and pull those pistons out. There should be 8 of them, unless there's a, a very clever thief who decided to pull a piston out and put the whole engine back together. Just like that. We should be able to sell these for decent money, and like I said, even if we could repair it, we couldn't put them back in the engine if we wanted to do the tuner set. Alright, so that is coming up. We will pull our crankshaft out. No, not the suspension. We want the crankshaft out. 22% may be pushing it for repairability. Now, hopefully this block is okay enough to repair. That's going to be the big thing there. 48%, we got a shot at it. All right, so that is the engine and everything out of it. I'll go ahead and run the battery over to our recharger here. Wow, we already have a battery in there. Interesting. So perfect. Don't know where that battery came from, but we can always use an extra battery. All right, let's go ahead and pull our suspension pieces off. Starting with the tire going down to the brakes. Brake pads off, ventilated disc, and then we get into the hubcap and bearing. And then we can work on the front axle cover. Now, these suspension arms have 2 rubber bushings inside of them each. We can see the conditions of the rubber bushing there. And as it is a rubber part, there's really no way to restore it back to its original condition. The shock is 3 separate pieces, the wishbone shock, and then the spring and suspension cover. Steering knuckle off, we'll remove the tie rod. This cross member has 4 rubber bushings in it that we can repair, like so. Sweet action. And then rubber bushing there. And then we just do the same thing on this side. Pull the lugs off. We'll try to repair those rims. We have a separator over there that can pull the tire from the rim, and we can see if we can repair those rims. Definitely be cheaper than buying a whole new set. I don't think I want to go all tuner and buy like these exorbitant, super big rims and tires. We'll just keep it as stock as possible. All right, shock absorber comes off. Suspension arm comes off. All right, then we can get the sway bar. We'll take the outer and inner tie rods off. And then we can get to the steering rack. The suspension cross member there. Steering knuckle, then we'll work our way back to the exhaust, take them off one piece at a time. These are not repairable, so we'll buy as much as we can from the tuner shop there. Now the back is different from the front as it has a leaf spring suspension and drum brakes. So we'll take off the drums and the shoes with the cylinder. Most of this is repairable if it's in a decent enough shape, and I think 27% is enough to do some work. At least I'm hoping it is. Take off these U-bolts here. Misclicked. And then after that comes the leaf spring plate, and then there's 2 small rubber bushings in the leaf spring itself that absolutely need to be replaced. As like their big counterparts, their big cousins, they cannot be restored. All right, take out the fuel pump and the fuel tank. Don't have to worry about fuel, luckily. Don't have to empty out the gas tank to drop it. And then we'll work on this side. And once, like if you play this game and once you get the feel of what each car's individual components are, teardown is pretty quick. You know exactly what parts to pull before other parts, because like if I wanted to remove this leaf spring, it would say, hey, no, you need to pull off the plate. Well, you can't pull off the plate without pulling off the bolts. So you instinctively go to the parts that you have to remove first, and you know what you can remove without wasting any time wondering, what in the world do I have to pull apart to get this thing undone? All right, so the plate, leaf spring, drive axle. All right, so that is everything in the car body. Now we can move the detail kit to the car lifter. That will repair or improve the interior. Then we will move the welder so we can work on the body as well. Now, before we go over to the repair bench, I'm going to go ahead and separate these parts. I have a lot of tires to separate. And if I'm honest, the reason I have, I remember why I have all of these parts now. I already tried to do, no, we don't want to install. The reason we have so many parts is because I've already done this in an episode. I've recorded it, I saved the game, I left, and the car body, just like that, was completely gone. But I still apparently have all the repair parts from that previous vehicle. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have all of this extra parts just in case I get lucky and repair a part that I didn't repair last time. So I'll go ahead and pull all of these rims free of their tires. And I guess what I'm going to have to do, it may have been a thing where I left the car next to the interior detailing kit and the welder. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to repair the interior, makes the interior nice and shiny, and then we're going to put that back. And then we're going to work on the body with the welder, use the equipment there, and now the body is good to go, and I'll put that back just in case that was the reason. I'm not sure. I'm just basic program troubleshooting here. But that's sort of what I think happened, because I've saved games with the car sitting on the jack, but I've never saved and left with the detailing kit and the welder nearby. Could be something to look at. All right, 2 more rims. I'm hoping to get at least 4 good rims out of this thing. If I can't, I can always store them in the workshop or the warehouse over there. Use them for another car build, as I'm level 52 and there are no more story-driven quests here, just randomly generated quests. I could put those tires on something else. All right, here we go. Let's do some repairs. Let's start with the base, and it looks like 16% is the bare floor for repair. Now what happens is every click of the mouse is a 95% chance to repair, and we can see the repair costs are pretty low. Now I broke that suspension arm, I broke that rim, 3 clicks, and I repaired. So it pays to definitely repair as much as you can. So I think we've got a couple rims already. We got that timing cover, crankshaft, come on. Nope, broke the crankshaft. And that's the worst thing about this game that's like the most frustrating, is you're repairing a part, you get it up to like 98%, but you want it at 100, so you click it one more time, and then it destroys it. It's like, okay, I got this thing spit polished and shine, but there's a little bit of dust on it. Let me hit it with a blowtorch. Burp. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If it's 95%, it should be 95% to repair the whole thing in one shot. That's your one. You either repair it or you don't. You break it. But that's just me. I know it's probably a balance thing, that once you unlock that, you're really overpowered with your part repairs and you're saving a whole lot of money by repairing all these parts, but still, it's frustrating to see a part break from 99%. If you're lucky, parts are really easy to repair, like that, and they're like one and done, or they're one and broke. I don't mind one and broke, but 96% or 75%, or even this. If I click this and it breaks, well, it didn't. Good. That's definitely the most frustrating. Now, of course, as you repair a part that has a higher base, you know, there's less chance of you breaking it. But I don't like the fact that it's sort of random as far as the repair goes, because like you can repair it up 5%, 10%. Then the next time you click it, you only get like 1% out of it. Good. We did not break the block. We don't want to break the most expensive things. Things like the rod caps, that's fine. We don't have to worry about breaking them at all, because they're like 40 or 50 bucks. But that block, if we broke that, that's a $1,500 part, and we definitely do not want to go breaking that. Now we're starting to get to the 1 clicks, which is good. Break. See, that caliper took 5 clicks, and it only moved like just a little bit. But now we're repairing the body parts, just 1 click and done. And that is that. So taking a look in our inventory, we should have 2 cars worth of parts to look at. Now the question is, did I get lucky with some of the repairs and, you know, perhaps I repaired a hood twice. Let me go to assemble mode and go to the hood. Yeah, I have 2 perfectly repaired hoods. So hopefully the engine will work like that as well. How many rims did we get repaired, I wonder? No, we don't need to separate. We need to install. Yeah, so we've got 4, 5, 6. 6 good rims. We can sell 2 of them. But, I mean, we may be able to put those rims in the warehouse, keep them for another vehicle. But that is going to do it, I think, in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go grab my batteries off the charger. And now we should have a lot of good parts. In the next episode, what I'm going to do is start with the engine, I think, and we'll build up the engine, and we will look in our tuning parts to make sure that we don't put in a part that has a turbo version, like spark plugs. We couldn't repair them, but we don't want to buy old ones. We want to buy brand new 0.125% performance spark plugs, and same thing with the mufflers and the pistons and the ignition wires. So we'll go through the engine together in the next episode, keeping in mind what we're going to need for the performance parts. And I got a pretty good idea what we need for the V8 already. Of course, we're going to need the air filter. Let's see, the 16B air filter, I'm pretty sure. Let me actually just... Yeah, I've got a good idea what we need. Oh, crap. What do we need? Nope, we need the inventory. I'm pretty sure it was the 16B. Let me sort by the name. Air filter. Surely we have an air filter. We've got alternator. We pulled an air filter off of this thing. Didn't we? I thought we did. But I do not see it. Oh well. So we're going to need one of those for sure. We are going to need a new alternator. We're going to need the V8 OHV crankshaft. We're going to need the 4-barrel carb. We're going to need a new clutch plate, pressure plate. The heads, we're going to need 2 V8 OHVs. We're going to need 2 V8 OHV manifolds. These front exhaust pipes, 2 of those, the new flywheel. We're going to need the fuel filter and fuel pump. We're going to need the ignition coil B, the new distributor and distributor cap with the rotor, the V8 ignition wires, the single carb. That's interesting. Intake manifold, 2 carb, but there's no single carb. Anyway, we'll need some middle mufflers, piston with Conrad, and then 8 of those. The V8 power steering pump, the 2 rear muffler V8s. There's the round air filter 1 carb. That's what we need. 8 spark plugs. We don't have a throttle on it or a turbocharger, so we can make use of a good bit of these parts. But that's going to do it for me in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, of Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. When we come back, we're going to build up that engine and put in all the shiny new parts. So, like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to save this game. If you see this video, that means that this car did save here on the rack. As a matter of fact, lift that car up. And we will continue on. Take care.